daughter. So whenever I would see my dad, he'd always slip me a Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. So I have this with me. And also too, U.S. Army Strong.
Ooh,
Ooh, yes, thank you. I was hoping I would hear that. All right, so I'm Tan, and you guys know that I go by Annie, and I'm Bill's daughter, and everybody knows Max. Max, you're the popular one. Everybody knows you. All right. All right. Here we go. My dad loved to make people laugh. Although he had an interesting sense of humor, he would at least think his pun or joke was funny, and if no one was laughing, well, you can guarantee that my dad was laughing at his own joke. So, that's what I loved about my dad. He loved to laugh and make others laugh. I must say he was corny and goofy at times, but guess what? That's where I get my silly, goofy side from my dad, and I'm glad it's from him. Before Dad passed, it was just another night. Unfortunately, my mom wasn't feeling very good. She was feeling very ill and nauseous. She asked my dad to run to the store to pick her up some Gatorade, and he did. When he got back, he sat and watched the Twins baseball game on TV. My mom said, I lost my place, hold on. My mom said he was yelling at the TV because the Twins were not winning. I could just see him just yelling at the TV. Later, my mom said she was going to go off to bed as she wasn't feeling well, and the last she saw my dad, he was breathing. My dad has a mild to moderate hearing loss, but he was too stubborn to wear hearing aids. So, if you remember my dad talking so loud, well now you know, so he could hear himself. It was normal for him to sleep through his alarm because, well, he didn't hear it. My mom's still not feeling well. She got up to wake my dad, and that's when she found him not breathing. My sweet brother Max instantly gave my dad CPR, and in his mind he thought by giving my dad CPR it would bring him back to life. This was hard for my brother to understand. I'm so proud of you, Max. Later, the police officer and chaplain were able to explain to Max that his dad's heart had stopped and that he won't come back. Once that process, Max gently closed my dad's eyes as a way to comfort my dad. My dad passing away at 66 years of age is a complete shock to me and all of us. But for some reason, his heart stopped beating, and it was his time to leave this earth. I'm just grateful that he passed away peacefully in his sleep. My dad loved his grandchildren. It was his goal to one day have him and Max move close to me because he wanted to be with his grandbabies. He wanted to live life with his grandchildren. I remember when I gave birth to our first child, Judah. I remember my dad holding his grandson in the hospital room for the first time. When he held Judah, my dad cried. He cried tears of joy. It was beautiful to see that tenderness from my dad, and I remember it as if it was yesterday. And let me just say, he cried with every grandbaby he held. He was just so proud to be an Appa. There's something to be said about unconditional love, sacrifices, and forgiveness. And that's what you see between my mom and dad. My parents are divorced, but yet they live together. I know it's weird, but they did it for Max. All Max knew was mom and dad together in the same house, and when that changed, it just wrecked Max. So my parents set their differences aside and said the past was the past and forgave each other. They decided to live forward, and by living forward, they did what they did to take care of Max and each other. My mom made sure my dad was happily fed with her amazing cooking skills. And if my mom cooked, my dad did the dishes. My dad shoveled and mowed the grass, as my mom couldn't. And they both worked together to take care of Max. And when you think about it, how many adults could do this? Could you? Let me just say this is something beautiful. It is beautiful, and it will always be beautiful. I want to quickly share a journal entry that my dad wrote. This was back in on Christmas Day, December 2013. Morning writing. Seeing Judah boy, Hadassah girl this Christmas morning is really happening. Those two precious babies is amazing. Rough week with Max. Been really feeling he's missing a home in Minnesota. His OCD is getting the best of me. Need to make an appointment for Max. Suki, praise the Lord for her kindness, knowledge, and the fact she is alive and well. Teeth, important. Would I have teeth without Sue? Praise her. Be thankful she is on my side. Annie, how do I tell her the ways I love her? What she means to me, Max, Sue, Gabe, Annie, Judah, Hadassah. Max, Max, Max. Love that boy. God has felt to bless us with Monster Max. Can we handle Max? We work and strive every day. But have we worked hard and made a safe home for him? Something to be proud of. Appa. That's what my kids call my dad. Appa means grandpa in Korean. My dad was so proud to be Appa. And for my kids to call him Appa was music to his ears. My dad even had a shirt that he proudly wore that said Appa since 2007. My dad was known to always do 3 things with my kids. Take them to the library and fill them up with books. Take them to the movies and load them up with a ton of candy he stuffed in his pockets from the dollar store. The third was take my kids to the dollar store. He would each give them $5 and tell them, go wild and buy whatever you want. Thank you, Dad, for instilling in my kids your love of reading, your enjoyment of movies, and having fun in the most simple ways. I last talked to my dad on my birthday on Saturday, September 14th. He called and he wished me a happy birthday, and I thanked him for the beautiful card. I teased him because I looked on the back of the card and I was shocked that he spent almost $5 on the card. He usually gets me a card from the dollar store. I know, that is so funny, Matt. He said when he read the card that he teared up, that it described everything about me. And when I read the card, I teared up. We cheered up on the phone and we ended by telling each other how much we loved each other. I'm just going to read you the birthday card he sent me. Daughter, you are a blessing. When you have a daughter who makes you proud, makes you laugh, and very often makes your day, you know what joy is. When you have a daughter who is a good person with a gracious heart and a gorgeous spirit, you know what peace is. When you have a daughter whose beauty inside and out is matched only by her compassion for others, you know what love is. Annie, love. Because I have you for my daughter, I know what it is to be truly blessed. Happy birthday. Love, Dad, Mom, and Max. Now, let's talk baseball. I love me some baseball, and I have my dad to thank for all of that. I'm still and will forever be a Minnesota Twins fan. My dad was the one that taught me how to throw and catch a softball. He taught me how to bat. He was at every practice and softball game I played on when I was a kid. We enjoyed going to a Twins game or St. Paul Saints game. And if we weren't at a game, you would find us either watching the baseball game on TV or listening to it on the radio in the car. I love the Twins so much that when I was a little girl, I had a crush on the second baseman, Chuck Knobloch. My dad got me his baseball card, and when I heard Chuck Knobloch was going to be at a Twins rally, he took me there. I made my dad be there early. We were there an hour and 45 minutes early. So we were front and center, the first ones to arrive. I got to meet my heartthrob, Chuck Knobloch. He signed my baseball card and asked me if I ever wanted to sing the 7th inning stretch at a Twins game. Plus we got 4 free tickets behind home plate. So here I am in 5th grade. I got to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game at the Twins game. I got to meet Chuck again, Kirby Puckett, Kent Herbat, Shane Mack. I'm telling you, it was a great day. It was epic. When I tell you I love Frank Sinatra, I love me some Frankie. When you hear it, well, when I hear his voice, you can ask my husband, I'm like one of those ladies that swoon and go, Frankie! My dad introduced me to Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong, and tons of music from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Until this day, I love all the timeless music. My dad and Max were really 2 peas in a pod. If you saw my dad, you saw Max. If you saw Max, you saw my dad. I don't know what life will look like now. Not sure what the future will hold. But I know that I can trust a known God to an unknown future. So we keep breathing, we keep living, but it's more than that. We have a God that loves us so much that he's willing to send his son to die on a cross for our sins. This is what Amazing Grace is all about. Salvation is a free gift. We can't earn it. It's just given to you. This grace I still cannot understand. That we are saved by grace, and we are saved by this grace when we don't deserve it. I pray for this amazing faith for all of you, that you would deeply seek this faith, that you would find it and live in freedom. I don't want any of us to live with regrets. I know we could say, I should have done this. I wish I would have. I could have done this better. So do what my dad did. Call the ones you love and chat with them for a few minutes. Call your grandbabies like my dad would and tell them how much you love them. Send your loved ones a card like my dad would. I mean, who writes and sends you a card these days? I mean, writing and sending a card takes time versus a text is quicker and so much easier. But receiving a card, holding it in your hands, opening what somebody wrote, it is such a good feeling. I know we can say time is an issue, and pardon me on this part, but this would be my dad. I know we can say time can be an issue. I'm busy, I don't have time, but you know what? Make time. And if you have time to sit and take a crap on the toilet, you have time to call someone. Yes, you do. You can sit and call someone while you're taking a crap on the toilet. Right? It's true. So hug your love. I'm trying to get a little bit of humor on my dad, right? So hug your loved ones, hold them tight. Tell your loved ones how much you love them. Live hard and love hard. And my dad loved to read books. He loved movies. He loved westerns. He loved to laugh. He loved to connect and talk with others. So please do me a favor and celebrate my dad's life that he lived by going to your local library, bookstore, get a book you've always wanted to read, and read your heart out, just like my dad would. As you exit, there's books that I found in my dad's room, and grab a book that once was my dad's and take it home and read it. Thank you, everyone that has come, that has flown in, that has driven from out of town, for sending food and flowers to comfort us, for sending their condolences to the Larson family, Jamie, Joelle, Jenny, and Shelley, who took Max for 3 days to watch and care for him, and you held him while Max cried on your shoulders while my dad passed. Thank you, Chuck, for helping me on the phone, for all the technical stuff and paperwork, for sharing memories with me, Chuck, of my dad as we talked. Please, everybody, promise me this. Keep my number, my email, contact me anytime, and keep in touch because, as we all know, life is short, and we need to just make time. If a memory comes up of my dad, call me and share it with me. I would love to hear it. I want to leave you with God's word that brings us hope. 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 13 through 14. But we do not want you to be uninformed, brothers, about those who are asleep, that you may not grieve as others do, who have no hope. For since we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so through Jesus, God will bring him those who have fallen asleep. Matthew 5, verse 4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Matthew 11:28. Come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. 1 Peter 4, verse 8. Above all else, love each other deeply.